Great to have you with us. Now, Chairman of the Tripoli District, Ghana National Association of Teachers, Mr. Samuel Jare, has told Joy News some of the BC students caught up in the conflict are returning to the classroom to finish their academic work in readiness for the exam. Some of the students who spoke to Joy News yesterday broke down in tears while begging governments to step in and forestall peace in the area because the conflict is affecting their studies. Mr. Ejari, who is also head teacher of the Tripoli EPDA Primary School, told Joy News a fair number of the students are currently back in the classroom due to the prevailing calm.
Thank God, I think for the past 5 days, we've not had the sounds of gunshots again. And for today, the population has increased. The children are coming to school. And if you look at their faces, I think there is life. So we are hoping that the situation should continue in that that domain. Most of the primary schools are down. Most of the primary schools are yet. This morning I visited some schools. I went and then a school of about 500 population. You go and meet 12 people in some of the areas, less than 20 and go. But for the junior high schools, the attendance has now picked up. We are hoping that by next week things will pick up and then we'll catch up. We are teaching them to prepare them for the DCE. We are hoping that now that they are removing the roadblocks by the close of the week, most of them will now come back and then we'll continue in that direction.
Meanwhile, Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwol says more military and police personnel will be deployed to the conflict-ravaged district of Tripoli in the northeast region to ensure candidates' rights in this year's VECE are safe. The students have already lost more than a month of contact hours following renewed clashes between the Chokosis and the Konkombes.
I'm urging them that from hence they should lay down whatever weapons that they have. The conflict is over. And that they should look at we, the leaders in government and outside government who have come to appeal to them, and realize that the conflict will bring them nothing else but destruction. They said their children will want to go and write BCE. We can guarantee them that the security will be there enough for the children to go and write their exams. I can also guarantee you that your plea that they should diversify the station of soldiers will be looked into. So very soon you will see soldiers in this community also to come and stay with you here. At the same time, we'll get soldiers to also go to Tambom and also stay in Tambom as well. If you have any complaint, the Ghana Armed Forces personnel are there to be with you and help you. They are not here to fight you. If you have any complaint and when they are here, go to them and talk to them. Don't take the gun and shoot. The soldiers are here to serve you. Don't take the law into your hands and search any vehicle.
So with this story, Shraj Commissioner Joseph Whittal believes getting feuding factions in the Tripoli conflict to understand the impact of their actions on the vulnerable can bring lasting peace.
It's been rotating. Last year we were in Senegal, and this year it is coming to Ghana, one, because Ghana is one of the top performing national human rights institutions in West Africa, and of course in Africa. And so there's a need for the consultation to come here, and the resource persons who would be invited to give some information from NDPC, from the Electoral Commission, from the CSO platform on SDGs will assist the national human rights institutions all over West Africa in terms of best. Well, at the sub-regional level, I mean, you know the disaster that's happening in Boko Haram between Nigeria and Cameroon. The story is not good. In Niger, story is not good. Just cuts across. You've heard of the quite a number of Maghreb attacks from Mali to Burkina Faso, among others. And of course, Ghana is on high alert. We all appreciate that these are emerging human rights issues that we need to confront. But there are older ones, in the case of Ghana, like communal violence or conflict, which are so entrenched. It's about some differences between how the settlements came to be. It's about chieftaincy between gates, competing gates. It's about power. Why the power issues and power dynamics should be allowed to play up to today, affecting women, children, because houses are touched.
A separate development, he's asking government to stop playing the ostrich on children being used as slaves on the Volta.
Government should stop playing the ostrich. When we are talking about the rights of our own citizens, we should put politics aside. You and I know what goes on the Volta Lake. Children are not going to school. They are diving and removing nets. Some of them are dying. It's a fact. We have provided schools that are standing from our research, and children are not attending school. So, if your palliatives for resolving the problem are not working, listen to what others are telling you. They're not telling you to do something for Cambodians. It's about how to resolve the issue of child labor on our Volta Lake, and also probably when it comes to our cocoa farms and others. Let's listen and let's take some opportunity to self-correct.
And linked to the conflict in the Tripoli and Saboba districts is the peace that has returned to Dagbon after that dreadful prolonged chieftaincy dispute, which led to the loss of lives and property. But thanks to stakeholders who mediated the peace talk, there's peace today. In the following excerpt of Joy News' Hotline documentary, my colleague Gifty Andoapia has been speaking with residents on the much anticipated peace, which is now their dream come true.
A bloody conflict of many years have come to an end here in Dagbon. That means a lot to the people, especially women and children who have suffered for many years. Some of them know nothing about the war. The regions in the northern part of Ghana are about the poorest, but chieftaincy disputes, often bloody, have stagnated progress and promoted a cycle of poverty and rural urban migration. These conflicts have only inflicted losses, leaving in its way fatigue on the part of peace brokers and financial loss to the state, running into millions of Ghana cedis. Here in Dagbon, hundreds of people bear the physical and psychological scars of gruesome years of deadly disagreement. They also bear regrets as their calls for peace echo. In this documentary, I focus on the price the people have had to pay for the peace they enjoy today and which they want to sustain. People have paid the ultimate price. Development has been sacrificed and potentials buried. These are stories told from the perspective of Dagombas who share what they want to see in a new Dagbon. My name is Gifty Andoapia.
Welcome to Yendi, the capital of the Yendi municipality. It's a land full of baobab trees. The last time we checked in 2012, about 52,000 people lived here. And if you know the dynamics of any human settlement, you won't be surprised if the figures have doubled in 2019. I'll show you around, tell you what the people have been telling me, and I'll show you what I have seen. It's a land screaming for investment, development, and especially education for its youth. They indeed want peaceful coexistence after years of conflict.
I'll tell you the story of two mothers, Sana and Shankar, who have lived through the conflict and are looking out for the future of their children now. You'll also get to know about monuments which some residents are entreating their leaders to focus on developing as tourist attractions.
Catch the full story tonight at 6:30 p.m. Now, away from that story, the chairman of the National Peace Council, Professor Emmanuel Asante, has charged political parties to see politics as a means to engender development for the country. Professor Asante believes the manner in which politics is practiced in Ghana, if not checked, will do more harm than good to the country. He was speaking at the National Peace Council mediation meeting aimed at getting political parties to agree on disbanding their militias. Police records show 24 of such groups exist, with the NPP and the NDC being the main beneficiaries.
Engagements that the council has had with the two parties were very positive, and the communiques that were issued attest to that. Vigilante activities have become a security concern to our democracy, especially around general elections. Unfortunately, tensions, violence, and sometimes destruction of life and property have characterized competitive elections in the country, especially by-elections, often fueled by so-called vigilante groups associated with political parties. Ghana's coordinated program for economic and social policies 2017 to 2024 in addressing the country's safety and security issues confirmed that, quote, current threats to peace and security in Ghana are violent crimes such as armed robbery, tribal and chieftaincy conflicts, terrorism, vigilantism, and electoral violence. Dwight Laswell has defined politics as who gets what, when, and how. This definition of politics reveals that politics is about people and the supply of their needs, their citizenship rights, which is manifested in the allocation of economic, social, cultural, and political benefits. Politics, therefore, should not lead to create systems and structures that have the potential of destroying the peace and harmony that we have earned for ourselves as a people.
Still live on Join News today with me, Daniel Daze. Still up ahead in the bulletin. The NDC Director of Elections, Elvis Efie Ankra, has accused the Electoral Commission of engaging in voter suppression strategies to deny eligible voters the opportunity to participate in the 2020 elections. Also, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority concerned many public sector workers have not signed on to the Tier 3 pension scheme.
And because of that, there is a whopping 16.5% of our salary which could have gone into pension tax-free, which we are not utilizing.
Details of that and more after this. Thanks for staying with us. This is Joy News Today, and the NDC Director of Elections, Elvis Ifria Ankra, has accused the Electoral Commission of engaging in voter suppression strategy to deny eligible voters the opportunity to participate in the 2020 elections. Speaking on the AM show this morning, Mr. Ifria Ankra said about 1.5 million more voters have been left out in the last limited registration exercise organized by the EC, targeting only 500,000 voters. Mr. Ifria fears the action by the EC could spell doom for the country if not addressed before the elections are held. He spoke to Kojo Yankson.
Did you really say that the EC is engaging in voter suppression?
Yes. Yes.
That's a serious accusation.
Yes. And I'll prove it.
Show us.
Okay. So, there are three types of registrations. We have the mass registration, where when you're doing a new register, you open up and then you register people at the various polling stations. That was done in 2012, the biometric registration. And then you have a limited registration. Every 2 years, you look at the population figures and then you do a projection. And then we have a continuous registration, which came about as a result of the Tenadi case, where a citizen wanted to register off the two other registration periods, and the court ruled in his favor. The Electoral Commission said, we are not doing registration. And the court said, every citizen must be given the opportunity. So that is where they acquired the VMS equipment and placed them at their district offices. So that is meant for continuous registration. Now, we've done two limited registrations. 2014, actually. 2014, the target was 1 million. The EC was able to achieve about 800,000. 2016, the target was 1.2 million. The EC was able to achieve about 1 million. So you're talking about 80%, 90%. And then in 2018, there should have been a limited registration exercise across the country. But the EC decided to limit it to the 47 districts that were going to hold a referendum. When they did that, they used the VMS, the district-based equipment, and they targeted 100,000 people in this 47 districts. Now, we felt that based on our statistical analysis, it should have been, the target should have been over 200,000, but their target was 100,000. When they did that, they got 47,000 plus, so 47%. So you have a situation where whenever you use the 6,000 electoral areas, you get 80–90% turnout. When you use the district offices, you get less than 50% turnout. So we're now coming to do a limited registration across the country. That is after 2016. So as I said, 2014 target 1 million, 2016 target 1.2, got 80%, 90%. So the main 2019, after 3 years, we asked the EC, what is your target? On paper, what they wrote to Parliament was 300,000. At the last IPAC meeting, we asked them, what is your target? They said 500,000. We asked, what is the basis of that 500,000? Because population growth does not regress. It goes forward. So if you had 2014 target of 1 million, 2016 target of 1.2 million, 2019, your target should be 1.5 million or above. They couldn't explain to us at IPAC. So we went to the population service, statistical service. They gave us the figures. Based on their projections, those who have turned 18 between 2016 and 2019, they're about over 1.7 million people. So if you have an EC whose primary mandate is to register people to vote, and mind you, this vote is this right is a fundamental human right. It's inalienable. You cannot do anything about it because you need to be able to register before you can vote. And the EC's mandate is to put in place measures to expand the voters register. So if you have a situation where the EC, by its own actions, says that it's targeting 500,000 people, then it means that you're going to disenfranchise 1.2 million potential registrants. That is a very serious matter.
Away from election issues, the Central District in the Ashanti region, has set up a standing security team to intensify the fight against nomadic herdsmen believed to be moving to the area. It follows reports of attacks on local farmers and destruction of farms by grazing cattle evicted from nearby Asante-Achim North and Setre Afam Plains district. Security agencies in the area will jointly pursue and drive the armed herdsmen and their animals away. They will be complemented by personnel stationed as the 5 police posts to be sited strategically in communities prone to the menace. Ohiming Terrier has more.
Setre Central share boundaries with Asante-Achim North and Setre Afam Plains districts, where herdsmen clashed with native farmers for years. The police military team presence in a reviewed Operation Cowleg activity follows a Joy News documentary, Violent Shepherds. Herdsmen evicted from Agogo have now pitched camps in the Setre Central district, where residents of 157 communities are mostly farmers. Authorities visited Uku, Nkujua, Brim, Aframso and other communities which have been witnessing mass arrival of cattle. Dude Abed is the assemblyman for Oku electoral area.
The Fulanis and their health issue in Oku community has been a headache, and it has started for just 2.5 years now. But as we are speaking now, if not the directives from the DISEC, we would have met a huge of Fulanis and their heads or the cattle in this community. But the issue is that we do have a series of complaints concerning their cattle destroying farm produce and other things. And at the point of Fulanis and the locals being fighting each other.
Within budgetary and personnel constraints, the Assembly has earmarked Brim, Esugwesu, Achia, Jeduako and Krui for siting of police posts. DSP Charles Etria is the Setre Central District Police Commander.
Yes, this is going to be a sustainable operation. For DISEC, we have decided to engage in this operation, not once, it's going to be a continuous one. So sustainability is assured. So we give it to all the community members. We're going to continue with this operation. Wherever we find any nomadic Fulani, we will embark on operation to get rid of them.
District Chief Executive Kojo Banahini is confident the new arrangement, despite the cost, will give residents the peace of mind.
The cost of human life is worth than anything that you can consider. So that is what we're trying to do. It's making sure that human lives are not lost, just anyhow. So, but we are managing it in such a way that do not affect the activities of our districts, especially our smaller towns where they need pipe-borne waters and boreholes and other things. What we're doing will not affect them negatively.
From Nsuta for Joy News, Ohiming Terrier reporting.
Now, a 2018 Mandela Washington Fellow is partnering with a US-based nurse to redistribute reusable sanitary pads to girls in the Talented district of the Upper East region. A number of adolescent girls around the country are believed to be adopting unhygienic practices as a result of period poverty. As support to these girls, as the world commemorates Menstrual Day, Maxwell Kumbeni and Karen Lead have distributed over 600 sanitary pads to girls in 12 junior high schools as part of a Mandela Washington Fellowship, a reciprocal exchange program. Joy News' Upper East correspondent Albert Sori reports.
Menstrual hygiene is not often managed properly by most girls in rural Ghanaian communities. This is mainly due to lack of resources for the girls to buy their own supplies of sanitary pads. Also, lack of knowledge of self-care practices and inadequate sanitation facilities in schools, as well as lack of support from parents, all contribute to poor menstrual hygiene in rural Ghanaian communities. All these factors also lead to school absenteeism among girls during their menstrual periods. To help address this problem, a 2018 Mandela Washington Fellow, Maxwell Kumbeni, together with Karen Lead, a nurse at Kettle Moraine Middle and High School, Wisconsin, USA, are distributing reusable sanitary pads to girls in the Talense district.
We're working with a project through the Mandela Washington Fellowship Exchange Program, which is sponsored by the U.S. Department of State. Our interest is in menstrual hygiene and helping girls to be able to manage their own health, manage their own menstruation, to understand how they can take care of themselves, be able to make decisions on their own, and especially to stay in school. We're coming to this region especially because girls have limited resources to be able to manage their own supplies and purchase their own supplies, so we're offering reusable menstrual materials.
Maxwell and Karen are also engaging boys in the schools on the scientific facts of menstruation and how they can support girls to have a comprehensive menstrual management both in school and at home.
And for this particular project, we have gone beyond just distribution of pads into involving all stakeholders that we think are key into ensuring that girls stay in school than their messes. And here we are involving the boys. We are trying to let them understand why they should support their colleague girls when they are menstruating. We are involving parents from home. We are asking those who are here to menstruate to come with their mothers so that when they get the concept, they'll get ready and be in a position to support their daughters when they begin to menstruate. We're also involving people like the teachers in the school so that they know how it is to menstruate, and so therefore they'll be in a position to support the girls when they're menstruating. These communities were chosen because in our study we realized that certain schools that were farther from the towns were fond of, girls were fond of involving in unhygienic menstrual practices. So we thought that if we could reach out to those forgotten schools or those schools that are less privileged and try to focus our attention on them, provide them with the sanitary part and also educate them, maybe it could reduce the absenteeism rate that are related to menstruation.
The Girl Child Education Officer for the Talense District says the Education Directorate considers the initiative taken by Maxwell and Karen as very timely because many of the girls in the area often go through a hard time when they experience their menstruation. Some of the girls who received the sanitary pads spoke to Joy News.
Today I've learned how to wash my hands with soap and water, and I also learned how to use the menstrual cycle. I'm sure if we have programs like this, we will not absent ourselves from school.
What I have learned of this program is how to make yourself clean when you are menstruation. It helps us to track our menstrual cycle.
So far, over 600 of the sanitary pads have been distributed in 12 schools. For Joy News, Albert Sorry, Shega, Talense District.
And I'm Daniel Dazi here in Accra. Now, coming up in business, National Pensions Regulatory Authority concerned many public sector workers have not signed on to the Tier 3 pension scheme.